Alright guys, so I'm scheduling this video for Sunday, late Sunday night, because me, Mike at the Real Fifth Beetle, my buddy Dave at Savage Zombie Reviews, and my boy Alexi at Alexi Gammer are going to be on Mike the Real Fifth Beetle's Sunday night stream. I mean, as usual, I'm like a permanent fixture on his streams, but every Sunday we've been having Dave there, which has been great, and now Alexi. And we're going to be counting down our list of our top 10 films of the 2000s, so 2000 to 2009. So I'm going to have this as a little standalone video with my list, so I'll have it on the channel. So it'll be scheduled for right after the stream we do. So as usual, I'll start with some honorable mentions, and I'm just going to rattle these off because there's a decent amount of great films here in the 2000s that didn't make my list, but wanted to give shout outs to them. Session 9 from 2001. Awesome movie, takes place in a mental institution. Excellent. If you haven't checked it out, check out Session 9. Final Destination 2 from 2003. I'm just finishing up the series with Final Destination 5 in a little bit. Well, by the time this is out, then it'll be done already. So I finished the series, and Final Destination 2 is my favorite in the franchise, and awesome franchise, awesome fun film. Splinter from 2008. It's a great little creature feature as people get basically robbed on the side of the road, and they end up going to this gas station, and there's a creature there, some type of weird organism that starts taking over some of them. The Ring, 2002, the American remake. Probably my favorite, if not definitely my favorite, American remake of a Japanese horror film. I love Ringu more, but what a great remake The Ring is. So, Inside from 2007 is one of the French extremity films. Woman gets in a car accident while she's pregnant. The baby's fine, but then she ends up getting home invaded by some strange woman who wants her baby. Sick film, a lot of blood everywhere, gore, great effects, great stuff. So if you haven't seen Inside, I believe it is on Tubi at the moment. Now this movie I just did a short Tales from the Crib for, with little audio thoughts and stuff on the film while watching it. Triangle from 2009. Now I haven't seen this movie since years ago until I rewatched it the other night. Awesome film. Melissa George gives a excellent performance in it, and if you like the type of movies, like, it's not like these movies, but the whole type of like continuous loop, like a time loop, like Happy Death Day or Groundhog's Day, like that type of concept, this is a great film. Check it out for sure. Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon. This almost made the list, from 2006. Such a fun meta film. This is basically, you get to see into the life of a serial killer and see how they plan their serial killings, how they plan their murders. Really meta film, really awesome film. Martyrs from 2008 is another French extremity film. Not much I'm going to spoil for this if you haven't seen it. Go into Martyrs pretty blind, and you will be blown away, and probably sickened a little bit as well. The Others from 2001. Awesome ghost film with a great twist at the end that I didn't see coming when it came out. And I know a lot of people who didn't see it coming either. It's been parodied in Scary Movie and a bunch of other places, but awesome ghost film. May from 2002. We have the awkward girl May, who has a glass eye, a glass eye. She wears a patch over her eye, and very awkward but adorable, played by Angela Bettis, and she is trying to find her new best friend. Her best friend has been a doll her whole life, and she wants to basically make a Frankenstein best friend out of some the guys that she meets. Great movie. House of the Devil, Ty West from 2009. He nails the just late 70s, early 80s feel here. I think it's set in the 80s, but a lot of Ty West stuff, he nails that 70s feel of film. And there hasn't really been a bad thing by Ty West. I love this film. I love The Innkeepers. I love The Sacrament. I love his segments in VHS. And X and Pearl were my favorite two films of the year last year. So I cannot wait for Maxine. But yeah, House of the Devil 2009 is on Tubi. Check it out if you haven't seen it. Lake Mungo from 2008. This is such a realistic feeling faux documentary / found footage film. I'm glad to see that it's been getting a lot more love in the last 5 years or so. This is such a great can't even call it found footage, because found footage implies that someone found the footage. This isn't that. It's like a fake documentary. But man, it feels so genuine, so realistic. And if you threw this on and then had someone come in the room and watch for a few minutes, they would think this is a real documentary. Like, that's how realistic this is, how great the acting is. And it's a very eerie story, too. Lake Mungo, it's on Tubi also. Definitely give it a look. Ginger Snaps from 2000. This is one of my favorite werewolf movies. And Katharine Isabelle is absolutely gorgeous, just like in every other thing that she's ever been in. Awesome Canadian film, awesome werewolf film, which we don't have a lot of. Definitely check that out. It is also on Tubi. Dawn of the Dead, Zack Snyder's remake from 2004. Excellent remake. I know some people who prefer the remake to the original, Romero's original Dawn of the Dead. American Psycho from 2000, which almost made the list also. This is one of my sister's favorite movies, and I've been holding off on covering it on the channel because she wants to come on and be a guest from time to time, and I know that's the first movie she's going to want to do on the channel with me. So, American Psycho. The Mist, Stephen King. One of my favorite short stories by Stephen King. And what a friggin' ending, man. What a gut punch of an ending. So much that Stephen King praised the ending of the film and likes it a lot more than the ending to his short story. But Jesus, what a depressing, gut-punching ending. The Mist. Shaun of the Dead, 2004. Hilarious zombie movie. So much fun. A lot of great jokes, a lot of great gags in it, and a lot of cool looks of the zombies. Awesome movie. I don't know, many people haven't seen Shaun of the Dead at this point, but if you haven't, definitely check it out. Let the Right One In. This one also almost made the list from 2008. It's the original, not Let Me In, which is the remake, but one of my favorite vampire movies of all time. Like, such a great film. Now, this is one you don't hear often. Frailty from 2002 with Bill Paxton, Matthew McConaughey. This is a great film. Bill Paxton plays the father to two sons, and he is hearing messages from God telling him to kill people that are supposed to be demons or devils or have, evil inside of them. And one of the sons is young enough that he believes him, and the other son, Fenton, is not so sure his father's hearing messages from God. Excellent film, never really talked about. This is, like most David Lynch, not a full-on horror movie, but he has horror elements in so many of his films. Mulholland Drive from 2001. This would have made the list if I considered it a full-on horror movie. If you're not a Lynch fan, get into David Lynch. Go watch Eraserhead, Mulholland Drive, Blue Velvet, Twin Peaks, the series, and Fire Walk With Me, the movie. Go watch anything by David Lynch, because he's one of my favorite directors of all time. So Mulholland Drive from 2001, and then Dead End from 2003 with Ray Wise and Lin Shaye. Another movie that is not talked about often. I did a full spoiler discussion on it. It is such a great movie. There's Ray Wise and Lin Shaye are husband and wife with two kids, and the daughter's boyfriend, and they end up going on a trip to their in-laws for Christmas. It was kind of a Christmas movie, kind of, and they end up getting stuck on this one long road as some weird stuff starts happening to each one of them. Great underrated movie. So let's get into the list now. 10 minutes in. There's a lot of honorable mentions, but I had to mention all these movies because they are all great films from the 2000s. Alright, number 10, Orphan from 2009. I love this film. Absolutely adore Orphan. Isabelle Fuhrman did such a great job back then as a 10, 11-year-old girl playing Esther. I love the little girl Max. She was around the same age as my daughter, so it kind of reminds me of my daughter a little bit. It's sad that she's deaf, obviously, in real life, but she gives such a great performance without really even talking. And I mean, Vera Farmiga, Peter Sarsgaard, and the twist at the end of this that nobody really saw coming. And I really loved Orphan First Kill from last year. Great prequel, and had its own twist that no one really saw coming. Great movie. So number 10, Orphan from 2009. Number 9, The Descent from 2005. What a great creature feature monster movie this is. We have a group of female friends who go into a cave, uncharted cave system, to explore and be the first to discover it, and they end up discovering these bat-like creatures that lurk in the cave and go up to the surface to hunt for food. And now this group of friends are next on the menu. Awesome film. Make sure if you see it, there's 2 endings. There's the American ending, theatrical cut, which has a stupid jump scare ending, and then there's the British ending, which is so much more superior for me. A lot more bleak of an ending. So, The Descent from 2005 at number 9. Number 8, Laid to Rest from 2009. Now, this is such a great slasher movie from the 2000s, which we didn't have a lot of. The kills are absolutely fantastic in this movie. The effects, practical effects, are beautiful in this. There are some amazing kills, and Chrome Skull is a great slasher villain. I only saw this movie in the sequel recently, like 6 months ago, 5 months ago, something like that. As I heard a friend bring it up in his live stream, and I said, I've heard of those. I never saw them, though. So glad I saw them. I'll definitely be doing videos on them soon in the future. Because, and I feel like these movies, if they would have came out a few years later, they would have gotten the recognition and the hype that Terrifier did. Because it's pretty much, the kills are on that level of Terrifier. They're not as over the top, like almost cartoonish like Terrifier. Like, you know it's not taking itself seriously. You know how over the top the kills are. These are much more grounded, but still brutal kills. And Chrome Skull could have been another slasher icon, along with Art the Clown and Victor Crowley, if people actually watched and paid attention to this movie and its sequel. So, Laid to Rest, 2009. Awesome slasher film. Number 7, Drag Me to Hell, Sam Raimi from 2009. Now, I love and adore this movie. This was Sam Raimi's return to horror after the Spider-Man trilogy and everything. And this is a PG-13 horror movie. And it's one of the few PG-13 horror movies that doesn't matter to me. That is PG-13. There's really not much that I can think of that could have been added to this movie to make it an R rating. Like, it's perfectly fine at PG-13. This movie is gross as shit. It's in traditional Raimi fashion. Blood that just sprays like geysers. Like, all very reminiscent of Evil Dead, but it's its own thing. It's such a great movie, and Justin Long gives a good performance in it. I forget the name of the actress who plays Christine, but she gives her all in this too. So number 7, Drag Me to Hell, 2009. Number 6, and again, this is my favorite top 10 of the 2000s. Not the best or anything, because this is a hated movie, man. But Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2 from 2000. I've seen this movie so many times, it's not even funny. Like over 100 times. Like since it came out in 2000. I adore this movie. This is a movie that is so severely misunderstood that it was fucked with by the studios so much that they messed with director Joe Berlinger's vision. There was supposed to be, the intro song was supposed to be Frank Sinatra's Witchcraft. They changed it. The studios changed it to Marilyn Manson, Disposable Teens. You can tell just from seeing there's fan edits out there. If anyone wants a link to a fan edit that takes all the studio crap out and is basically like a fan edit director's cut following Berlinger's notes and his actual vision, let me know. I'll send you a link for it. But God, I adore this movie. And the studio made Berlinger put in all those unnecessary killing and gore scenes, which makes you know ahead of time that it gives away pretty much the whole ending. Same with the early interrogation scenes. The fan edit takes all this out. It switches the intro song back to Frank Sinatra, and there's actually a book in the fan edit. Like that, there's no Book of Shadows in this whole movie, so that part of the title's stupid. Another thing that was made for the studio, by the studio, they wanted a tagline, so Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2. I don't like the original Blair Witch Project. I adore this movie. So if anyone wants the fan edit, let me know. I'll send you a link, and maybe you can reassess the movie. Maybe you'll enjoy it a lot more, because it does flow so much better without all the studio bullshit in it. So, number 6, Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2. Number 5, Hatchet from 2006. Adam Green brought us another unbelievable slasher role played by Kane Hodder, and created one of the few slasher icons of this decade, and since 2000 and on, basically. Victor Crowley, Art the Clown. Those are the only two slasher icons that I can ever think of. And the whole Hatchet series is phenomenal. Like, when this movie came out, we were so psyched as slasher fans that all practical effects and the throwback to 80 slashers and everything. And I adore this whole franchise. So Hatchet, I'm pretty sure all of them are on Tubi. You can check them out if you have not seen them. Definitely check out the first Hatchet and all 3 afterwards, because fantastic series. Number 4, this is going to be another controversial one. I adore the Saw franchise. Adore it. It's one of my favorite franchises in horror. I'm a huge continuity person. Fucking with continuity bothers the hell out of me. I have other friends that are the same way and know people the same exact way. This series, say what you want and call it torture porn, what a stupid fucking phrase that is. I talk all about that in my Saw video. I just finished covering the entire franchise, and the attention to detail that they do in this series and the attention to continuity is excellent. Like, they would bring back people, actors and actresses, to play their dead corpses in like a 5-second shot in a flashback. That's dedication to detail, man, and continuity. And just, I love, the traps aren't even the thing I love about this franchise. It's just the story. And people will say it's convoluted and it's out there and stuff, but it's so much fun piecing all this together. And just the fact that they were able to take a standalone film like the first Saw, that they had no plans for afterwards, just James Wan, Leigh Whannell, they made their first film with Saw, and that was supposed to be it. Saw 2 wasn't even, the script wasn't even a Saw film. They ended up changing it to be a Saw film. A lot of people I know stopped watching after the 3rd film. I love the entire franchise. The first 7 films are just like this perfect 7-film arc that the story runs through and connects so perfectly. So my number 4, it's not Saw. It's not Saw 3. It's Saw Saw 6 is my number 4 from 2009. It is my favorite in the franchise. I feel like a lot of the later entries, like 4 through 7, isn't going to work for people who like the first 3 if they don't like Agent Hoffman. Hoffman is the secondary antagonist in this whole series, and basically after John Kramer dies in the 3rd movie and 4th movie, Hoffman is the primary antagonist. If you like the character Hoffman, you already love and adore this series. If you don't, that's probably why you couldn't get past the 3rd or 4th movie. I adore his character. I think he's an excellent villain, and like I said, the whole story arc between all of this franchise through Jigsaw spirals its own thing, which I don't care for much, but hopefully Saw 10 will bring us a awesome return to form like the first 7 films plus Jigsaw. So number 4, Saw 6 from 2009. Number 3, Rob Zombie's House of a Thousand Corpses from 2003. Now, I always say that The Devil's Rejects is the better film from Zombie. I think it's his best film. But I just have so much nostalgia connected with House of a Thousand Corpses from the first few times I viewed it back in college, a year or so after it came out, 2 years after it came out, tops. And I adore this movie so much. And I remember the first scene in this movie that made me think that Rob Zombie has... he can have a decent career directing movies at him. And it's that scene with I Remember You by Slim Whitman playing when they go to the Firefly house, Sheriff Wydell and the other sheriff with him and the other deputy with him, and they open the barn and then the music kicks in, and that whole scene is what led me to think, alright, this is excellent. Zombie might actually have a great career here in making films. Unfortunately, he's made a lot of shit his last few movies, but who knows, maybe he'll make another good one in the coming years. So number 3, House of a Thousand Corpses from 2003. Number 2, Stephen King's 1408 from 2007. I fucking love this movie. It is my favorite Stephen King film adaptation, by far. And there's some good ones. This is my favorite. I love the short story. I love this movie. And this is a movie that also has alternate endings. Check them all out. But there's just so many hidden Easter eggs in this movie to past Stephen King work. You hear the theme music from Creepshow at some point. I believe when they're in the elevator, Olin and John Cusack's character, Michael Enslin, when they're going up to the room for the first time. Just the whole concept of this haunted hotel room and not being able to get out because it's just, as Olin says, it's an evil fucking room. I absolutely love this movie. If you haven't seen 1408 for some reason, please check it out. Such a great Stephen King story, and like I said, my favorite film adaptation of his work. So I think it's on Tubi. If not, it's somewhere, Peacock or Pluto or something like that. So 1408, number 2. Let's move on to number 1. So my number 1 film of the 2000s, from 2000 to 2009, is Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake from 2003. I think of all these major slasher franchises that got reboots, Friday the 13th, Halloween, Child's Play, I'm missing one, Nightmare on Elm Street, are all abysmal. Don't like any of those remakes, especially Child's Play and Nightmare on Elm Street. Rob Zombie's Halloween is decent, and Friday I really don't care for. But out of all the major slashers, this movie is the best remake by a long shot. I'm not saying that it's better than the original. Its original is an absolute classic. But I almost find myself watching this remake more than the original, more often. And I love everything about this movie. It is a perfect remake for this franchise. Just Leatherface, I forget who plays him, but he is huge in this movie. And just the way that they shoot and frame him and stuff to look as big and menacing as possible. R. Lee Ermey's performance in this is a huge reason for why I love this movie so much. He absolutely kills it as Sheriff Hoyt. Pretty sure it's Hoyt, yeah. The fake sheriff that he is. And all his scenes just blow me away. Like, I haven't seen anything that he's been in that didn't blow me away. Full Metal Jacket, and so many things. This guy's been in so many things before he passed. And he makes this movie 10 times better than it would have been without him. Jessica Biel is gorgeous and has one of the most distracting friggin' outfits in a horror movie. With that white shirt with the knot tied in the middle of the front and the tight blue jeans, and oh, it's so distracting. It is so distracting watching this movie, trying not to stare at Jessica Biel the entire time. But what an amazing remake. It was on high up on my list of best remakes of the 2000s onward to today, and it is my favorite film from the 2000s, 2000 to 09. So to recap quick, we have in the number 10 spot Orphan, we have number 9 The Descent, we have number 8 Laid to Rest, number 7 Drag Me to Hell, 6 Book of Shadows Blair Witch 2, 5 Hatchet, 4 Saw 6, 3 House of a Thousand Corpses, 2 1408, and number 1 Texas Chainsaw Old 3. Awesome decade for horror. A lot of remakes, but I didn't even mention all the shitty ones. So only the few good ones here. And we get even some better ones in the next decade, in the 2010s, which I'm sure me, Mike, Dave, and Alexi will be counting down our list for that decade sometime in the next few weeks after Sunday night when we do. Well, Sunday night would have passed already. I keep forgetting I'm scheduling this. After we do our list for this decade, and then this video will be out and you'll be watching this, I'm sure we'll be doing the 2010s soon after that. And then probably book it back to the 70s, because we have not done the 70s yet. But great decade, and hopefully you guys got to join us for the stream. And yeah, guys, I will be having videos out later as usual. And wherever you're from, hoping you're having a great morning, night, or afternoon. And I will talk to you guys soon. Take care, guys.